Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
It's totally fine.
What's your name?
Robert Foster.
And what year are you?
I am in 4th year.
And your major?
Business.
Okay. What was your last status update on Facebook?
I don't know if I don't use it. I don't do status updates.
Do you have a Facebook?
Yes, I do.
You can't even come up with your last post.
My roommate.
Not post, status update.
My roommate probably did it. It was something vulgar.
Last thing you put up.
I've never done a status update.
You've never done a status update. What's the last comment that you've put on somebody's wall?
Feed me supplements to my friend that works at a sports nutrition vitamin shop.
How long ago was it?
A week ago.
What was the purpose of doing it on Facebook?
Social recognition.
Was it social recognition? Or was it convenient?
I did it because I felt an impulse to share it with her in a different space as opposed to mobile communication.
Were you previously on the computer and you thought of it, or did you get on the computer?
No. That's why it was an impulse. It was like being at the store and seeing Candy. When I was on, I saw her and realized I needed to leave that comment to her, so I decided to use the most available medium, which was Facebook.
Okay. And do you think that the efficiency of your comment was received any better on Facebook?
I couldn't tell you because she responded as quickly as she might have had I left it using a cell phone.
Right. Did you feel like it would have had more impact by being on Facebook?
I think in the context, it might have been more poignant on Facebook.
Describe me your default picture on Facebook.
I'm wearing a United States made tweed blazer that's window pane. It's soft burgundy and beige, and a matching vest. And I have a dark burgundy tie with a white fitted Thomas Cook shirt. And I'm sitting with my right leg over my left leg, next to a fireplace at a restaurant called 90 Acres that was started by Richard Branson in New Jersey. And I have kind of like a...
Sir Richard Branson.
Sir Richard Branson. Excuse me, we're not on a first name basis yet. And I'm looking at the camera with a smile that's more like a disarming, kind of like a, yeah, this is me, deal with it, kind of a smile. Not I'm like extremely happy, but I'm very content with the situation, and I seem like proud of what's going on around me.
How often are you in that particular environment and situation? In other words, how often does your default picture on Facebook become a direct representation of your everyday life?
I don't always wear that, but that persona is something I typically give out a few times a week.
Okay.
Maybe daily, but not all the time. But it's definitely, I try to capture the way I feel.
Okay. So on a continuum from, say, the scale level 1 to 10, you would say that default picture is more representation of how you feel rather than how you think other people perceive you?
I think people perceive me differently than the way I think that picture represents me.
Okay. Off the top of your head, what other social media platforms are you on or do you use?
LinkedIn.
Not do you use, are you on?
I'm on LinkedIn. And I have a YouTube account.
YouTube account. Do you have an Instagram?
No.
Do you have an iPhone?
Yes.
Are you aware of Instagram?
Yes, but I don't use it. I'm not aware of all of the amenities that Instagram can offer to its users.
Is there a reason why you don't use it?
Not particularly. I just haven't taken the time to figure it out.
So you haven't become acquainted with it. If you were, have you become acquainted? You've probably become acquainted with the universe at this point, but have you become acquainted with LinkedIn at the same level have you become acquainted with Facebook?
I think no, because the time of exposure has been longer with Facebook than it has for LinkedIn, but I'm pretty familiar with how it works, and I've used it for what I needed to use it for.
describe your default picture on LinkedIn.
I'm wearing a blue blazer, same white shirt that I have on my Facebook picture, but a pink and blue sock tie. And I have a very sprightly and optimistic smile on my face where I kind of look like I'm extremely excited to see the person that's looking at me in this picture.
Do you feel that that's a direct representation of yourself?
Definitely.
Most of the time?
Most of the time.
Right. So you feel like you are in that particular situation more so than you are in your Facebook picture, or you feel like you're in that particular situation less than your Facebook profile, or do you think that you fit the persona of your LinkedIn more so than your Facebook, or do you feel that that's an equal balance for what those what those social media platforms are supposed to represent?
I think LinkedIn is supposed to represent a much more professional, somber tone, and I kind of flip that by being like, I'm a very excitable person in a business situation, because that's how I wanted to portray myself.
Right.
Because that is me. And in Facebook, instead of being always involved with another like social entity and trying to portray myself in that scene, I wanted to show people how I am more intimately.
Right.
Just because I also like the little picture of it, so all those things combined. So I think it's balanced.
Right.
Like I have both, but different days I exhibit more from LinkedIn or from Facebook than I do from the other.
Right. So as far as your extensions of your social medias of yourself, they're fairly personal. Like, meaning they aren't exactly from what it sounds like. Would you say let me rephrase that. Would you say that the social medias in your life are extensions of who you are?
The pictures or the entire...
The entire persona that is built on both of them.
Since I don't use them often, I try not to make them an extension of myself.
Yeah.
I think they're like an accessory to my knowledge or my awareness of
Right.
people that I know. That's kind of what I use them for. I try not to say this is Robert that is only visible in the Facebook world, and this is a Robert that's only visible in the LinkedIn world. I try to make sure that I'm consistent. So if you know me in person and you know me in the digital realm,
Right.
it's going to be the same person.
Right.
So,
With
does that make it an extension?
I think that that could be considered an extension of you. I think it could be considered an extension of you, even if it construed you in a far off manner as well. So I think the fact that you do want to be perceived as your same persona on those social medias, I would say it definitely is an extension of you. What makes you happier, a notification on Facebook or a notification on LinkedIn?
Probably on LinkedIn.
And does that have any direct ties to future opportunities or benefits?
I think when I get a notification on LinkedIn, it's from someone that I wouldn't expect to get it from.
Right.
On average. So it has the uniqueness, novelty factor that spikes
Right.
interest.
Right.
Brain. So that's why I feel it. And yeah, usually a notification on LinkedIn is a solidification of a relationship I have intentionally tried to develop, and
Right.
it could lead to a very positive outcome.
Right, right.
So.
And a notification on Facebook could be something that is less of a...
less relevant to personal success and personal growth, and
Yeah.
more relevant to people trying to extend themselves
Right.
through Facebook by just interacting with me, and it could be anybody else, but since they happen to know me, I become that X variable that's used.
So would you say you value your persona on LinkedIn more so than your persona on Facebook?
For what I use it for, yes.
Okay.
So
So why do you have a Facebook?
mainly to stay aware, to keep aware of personalities that I would not people that I would not stay in touch with
Okay.
otherwise, or that wouldn't reach out to me otherwise.
Okay.
So,
Congratulations, you just endured the 10 minutes of social media quizzing. Thank you.